Hello, friends. Good morning to you. How are you, friends? Good morning. Great to see you this morning. Hope you are well. You're finding this day filled with joy. That is my hope for you. How are you, gang? Hello, hello. Good to see everyone today. How are you? Sorry, I'm just playing around with things. I just can't leave well enough alone. Good morning, Linda. Hey, Derek. Good morning to you. Hope you are all are having good things in your day. Donna, good morning. Hello. John, good morning to you. Hope you're great. Hope you had a good weekend. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It is a joy to have you here today. See your little digital faces smiling at me. It is goodness all around. Hey, Karen. Yes, happy soggy morning. Holy smokes, was it raining this morning? Did a little driving this morning. It was coming down. So, but it is all good. We desperately need the rain to bring some life to the lawns everywhere. So it's a gift for sure. Um, how is everybody? I hope you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend as we set out towards fall, as we set out in this September and all the changes that September brings, all of the newness and all the difference. Welcome, welcome, and welcome again. So, good morning, everybody. It is the 6th day of September. And on this beautiful Tuesday, soggy as it is, that we have the chance to gather together in this little digital space. And whether you're finding us for the first time or you're here, you've been on this epic multi-year journey, and whether you're a part of our little covenanting group here at 282 Rock Street, or whether you are part of the 1111 diaspora around the world, welcome and blessings to you. We pray for you this day, and we ask that for joy and good gifts from your Father in heaven. That's our hope, and that's why we go on this journey. So this morning, I want to talk about the the Paul's second letter to the church in Thessaloniki. So Second Thessalonians. So we think, we live in this information age. Hey, good morning, Sharon Landry. We live in this information age in which we find ourselves as trying to discern what is true, right? Or trying to discern what's really going on. We look at the political developments of the day. We look at the cultural developments of the day, and really it's kind of like what's the right thing here? What's going on? Like what people that we've trusted kind of tell us things that we kind of like, I don't know about that, and then people that we don't trust kind of tell us things like, oh, I don't know about that, and we're inundated by more information than we've ever been inundated before. Uh, um, just to give you an idea, when Newton was writing his laws about gravity, about apples falling out of trees and all that sort of stuff, the entire collected information of the world, so all of the learnedness of the world, of the Western world, could have been printed in one Sunday edition of the New York Times. The amount of characters and the amount of information that's in one Sunday edition of the New York Times was actually equivalent to largely the collected body of knowledge that existed in Newton's time. That's how much we have been inundated with all of these different things about this is right, that's right, this is the way to do it. You should wear, you should wear your hair up, you should wear your hair down, you should wear your hair long, you should wear your hair short, you should wear skinny jeans, you should wear, mom jeans. I mean, all the different, we're inundated by all of it, like all the different pieces and parts of everything in this world. One of my favorite scenes in moviedom, which comes from actually a horrible movie. And the movie was about this called The Hurt Locker, which about this soldier that returns that was in war and has a bunch of things happen to him that just didn't make any sense. There's this one scene in which he returns from the battle space and he goes back to his family and he is standing in the grocery aisle, having just been risking his life, having just been working in all manner of things that would get him killed should he have made a wrong step, and that would actually endanger others' lives or kill in the business of killing others. And he is staring at the cereal aisle, and there's all of these different cereals for him to choose from, and the moment captures this sense of going from that which is really important, that which was really vital, that which was really alive, that which was life and death decisions, to being overwhelmed by all the decisions of all the different cereals that you could eat. And this way we are expending our executive function, that we're expending in our willpower, we're expending ourselves on this massive decision of a wall of cereal boxes about whether we're going to eat Fruity Pebbles or Frankenberry or Captain Crunch. Just the berries, not the Captain Crunch itself. So all of it, that we're inundated in 2022 by this information and by this misinformation, or even not even misinformation, useless information in some ways, So if I don't know if you find this overwhelming, I find modernity overwhelming in this way. It is. I've had that. I mean, I resonate with that Hurt Locker experience because I kind of had it. I came back from war and saw that a lot of the decisions that I'm making here are not important and they're not worth spending my executive function on. And yet here I am. I still have to make the decision. I still have to figure out where to park when I go to Walmart. I still have to decide whether to try and get something closer, or maybe risk getting wet in the rain, or we still have to make all these decisions. We still have to operate in the world. Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians, remember we're talking about that? Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians finds the church in Thessaloniki, finds this little bunch of Greeks all in a tizzy, in an absolute tizzy. They are a people who are overwhelmed by the life of modernity. Now, this was 2,000 years ago. But they're overwhelmed because they're actually a part of a pretty targeted misinformation campaign. We think that, people were somehow simpler or something in the past, that they weren't at all. In fact, in some ways, they may have been more clever and more elaborate. They didn't have all the technological devices to lean upon. And so so Paul writes this letter because they're getting all spooled up about the end of the world. They're getting all spooled up. They're getting all excited because there are these people who are coming to them saying, that the world's going to end any time now, that the day of the Lord is coming, and that there are actually counterfeit letters. There are actually letters that were counterfeited by Paul, that are not by Paul, that masquerading as if they were by Paul or by somebody in Paul's little group, Timothy or some of the other his other worker bees with him, that they would send to these churches to undermine their existence, to say to that, to get them to kind of go off the rails, to get them backbiting and turning against each other. That there were real misinformation campaigns against the early church, and that this one in the church in Thessaloniki is a thing that. And now you can say that people really intended to do that, or maybe they were actually just really well intentioned and really believed that the end of the world was coming. But this Christian movement was making all kinds of trouble for the Greeks in Thessaloniki, and all kinds of trouble for the Macedonians and for the people around them. It's not hard to imagine that there would have been people saying, like, let's just get them all cranked up, and then they'll start infighting, and then they'll start turning on each other, and then they'll start thinking the world's going to end, and then they'll stop caring for the poor, caring for the widows and orphans. Then they'll stop caring for each other and actually standing by each other and helping each other when they're in crisis, because they'll be mad at each other. That the tactics against communities of love and communities that love each other are as old as love itself. The tactics of dismantling them, and this was happening against the church in Thessaloniki. And so in the second chapter, so Paul's the first chapter of the book is this greeting, because he's always famous for his greetings. And then the second chapter, he kind of starts to lay into him. He says, now, this is from the second chapter of 2 Thessalonians. He says, now, concerning the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, our being gathered together to him, we ask you, brothers and sisters, do not be quickly shaken in mind or alarmed, either by a spirit or a spoken word, or a letter that seemingly to be from us, either to the effect that the day of the Lord has come. Let no one deceive you in this way. When we think about a lot of the information and disinformation, and I use those words purposefully, because some stuff we get is just information, right? Like we get all of the cereal boxes, and we're like, I don't need that much cereal ever. Or we get all of the disinformation, the things that are trying to influence us to be one thing or the other, or to think in a particular way, or to just get cranked up, to just get excited about, oh my God, this is, this thing is coming to get me, that thing's coming to get me, whether we're cranked up with fear, or whether we're cranked up with anticipation, or whether it doesn't matter, just to get us all excited, and so that we might forget. We might simply forget, in our excitement, in our titillation, in our fear, in our anger, in our verbosity of just yelling at somebody else, we might forget the basics, foundations of what God is bringing to us, what God has brought to us, and what God will continue to bring to us. Donna, I find it overwhelming too. Sharon, negative political ads are irritating me. Right? And that's, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But who cares? Who cares? Because they're this way that ends up taking up real estate within our heart, because they're like, oh, that annoys me, or end up taking real estate in our head, like, oh, I've got to come up with some more executive function to figure out what kind of Cheerios to buy, like Honey Nut or Plain, that we end up in the middle of all of these things, or we end up getting this information that says, really, don't trust your church, don't trust your family members, don't trust the people around you, don't trust these folks, don't trust those folks, because the world is ending, that something bad is coming, that there's reasons to be fearful, or reasons to be excited, or whatever it is. But I hope you're seeing what I'm painting in big pictures, but I hope you're in broad swaths, but I hope you're picking up this notion of the church in Thessaloniki was in the same position, in the same trouble, and in the same difficulty. And Paul's invitation says, don't give it any mind. Do not be shaken in mind or alarmed, either by a spirit, like being told something, being kind of having some sort of knowing that you think you know, or a spoken word, like those people are gonna be nice to you, like, or some letter that seemed to come from us, like, don't let it bother you, but remember what is good and remember what is evil. Remember what is good and remember what is evil. Now, what is good and what is evil? Like and it's bizarre that I even have to say this, right? But you know what's good is life. Life is good. Being alive is the best experience you're ever going to have in life. Yes, I just said that. As ridiculous as it sounds, but you're alive. I know you might have, your feet might hurt, your hair might be on fire, your armpits might stink, whatever. I mean, you might have the whole experience of being alive, but you're alive. You've been given this life. You've been given this consciousness. You've been given this ability to take in that which is before you. You've been given this grand gift of life, and you're given it each moment with every heartbeat and with every breath. To remember what is good, that life is good, that life is fantastic, that life is beautiful, and yes, tragic, and yes, confusing, and yes, all these other things, but inherently at its foundation, at its goodness, life is good and death is not. That the things that lead us to death, the things that lead us to all of the doorways, to all of the different layers of what death means, all of the different closing offs of our life, whether it's the agitation or the irritation or truly kind of jumping into the blackness of despair or whatever it is. Death is bad. Life is good. I know this sounds pedantic and ridiculous, but I'll tell you, but I feel like I have to say this to you today because I have to say this to myself today. I can get caught up death scrolling on my phone. I can get caught up looking at any number of events in the world. I can get caught up in contemporary existence and of modernity, and I can lose track of just the goodness of life. So we here at First Congregational, we in July and August we worship at 9 a.m. to kind of get out of the heat a little bit and to give people more of the summer days, and it's kind of a rhythm that works well for us because people come a little earlier and we have the opportunity to worship earlier in the day and then have the long summer days of a summer to truly enjoy Sabbath. And so this Sunday we are back to 10 o'clock, our worship time. And so it's this way of a little, maybe things getting, I don't know, a little more serious, whatever, however we want to understand it. But it also means that many families that we've been journeying with are going to be ready for baptism. So we have a bunch of baptisms coming up in the future. And one of the gifts of being present at the baptism of a baby, to me, what is this? Is that it's the single most clarifying thing that I encounter in the course of a week if we have a baptism of a baby on Sunday. Because it reminds me and it anchors me, not in intellectual, like, hey, remember this, like put a piece of string on your finger and remember this. It remembers me. It reconnects me with the very existence. And that when we as a community gather and baptize a child and pour water on that child, that we are participating in the affirmation of life is good and death is bad. And and I know I sound pedantic. It sounds ridiculous, but how many of us get spooled up, get distracted, get lost, get shaken in mind and alarmed, to use Paul's words, with all of the stuff that's going on around us, with all of the world of modernity, and the notion that there actually are people sending you letters to distract you from what is good, that's a reality in our world. You can call them whoever you want to call them, but that is happening There are voices that are coming through your phone, through your television, through that who are preying upon making you scared, angry, and afraid, and disconnected from one another. That's a reality. Friends, remember, remember, remember. Life is good. Life is gracious. It is the best experience we will ever have. Remember what is life and remember what is death. Remember all the things that will disconnect us from the goodness of our days. And step into our life with thankfulness. You see, that's the whole journey to this. That's the rememberer, I think. That's the thing that is our rememberer. In Winnie the Pooh land, he's trying to think, because he's trying to remember things. This is Winnie the Pooh. He's always think. He's always trying to remember things. And he talks about his rememberer, and his rememberer is at the core this thankfulness. That is our rememberer, is that when we find something in the course of our days to be thankful, we find something in the course of our lives to be thankful, we find one small thing that is in the part of our whole life that connects us to life and the experience of being alive. Friends, in Paul's words, do not be quickly shaken in mind or alarmed, either by a spirit, a feeling state, or by a spoken word, somebody trying to pull you off the path, or by a letter that seemingly to be from us, to the effect that the day of the Lord has come. Let no one deceive you in any way. Remember that life is good, that death is bad, and that in the midst of our life and our death and our content and our is this ability to open ourselves in thankfulness for every breath and every heartbeat and every joy of life. The great Meister Eckhart says, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. Friends, my hope for you today is that you remember your life. You remember your life as the greatest experience you'll ever have. It is the greatest gift you'll ever get. It is the biggest and most wondrous of Christmas presents. It is the most joyous and being of Easter baskets. It is the most glorious of Independence Days. That your life and your living of it and your breathing of it is the best thing that will ever happen. And it is goodness upon goodness. And the things that draw you away from the living of life, the thing that draw you away from the making good gifts and usefulness from the life that you've been given, are things of death, and that they are bad, and that they need not be fought or resisted or worried about. But we simply can pour our lives into thanksgiving for every heartbeat and every breath and every thought and every smile and every loving touch and every joy that we've ever had. And that in that is life, and life in abundance. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today on this Tuesday. I pray on this rainy day you find yourself a little goodness of life, and that you remember that all good things come through it. All right, friends, we will pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11. Peace and grace, my friends.